Hey guys, it's a new day with Stanley and Renee. Hey, welcome. Welcome to another great show we got for you. Hey, our topic today is you are unique. Yes, you are. Hey, this is my beautiful wife, Renee Flake.
Hi, everybody. Good
Hey,
evening.
hey, we're going to start with some, hey, we always do our thing with the scripture. We got to have some foundation for real. Okay, what I'm going to do, Deuteronomy 14, chapter, second verse. And it reads, we are a people who belong to him and are set apart from the rest of the world. As we walk this path of faith, may we always remember that God loves us and has made us worthy of his love and grace. And by choosing to follow him, we honor him and bring him glory to his name. That's from Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2.
So I guess I'll go with the next scripture. Is coming from Psalm 139, verses 13 through 14. Psalms, what did I say? 139, verses 13 through 14. For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. Mm-hmm. So we were going to, I guess, kind of open up a little bit to talk about just our experiences as far as being unique, right?
Right.
Do you want me to start? You want to start?
Please do.
I think I touched upon once upon a time that when I was younger, I was actually bullied when I was starting in elementary school through junior high, because back then it was junior high, not middle school, right? Mm-hmm. And a little bit of high school. And so I was teased in elementary school, starting elementary school, because I was always very tall. I was taller than everybody else. I was the little nerdy kid that loved all the books from the library, and I loved to read. And because back then, they didn't have tall sizes. Okay. So the thing of it is that a lot of times when my mom bought me pants, sometimes they weren't quite long enough because they did not have tall sizes. So that was a challenge back then, but I got teased because I was different. Sometimes when we think of the word unique, we think of different. And things like calling me names and I wore glasses, of course, even back then, 4 eyes, and just different things. And I kind of felt really bad about me being different because I was kind of like a little old soul. I was always thinking like a little adult, which was weird to most people. But that was who I was. I just thought that way. And I remember in junior high school, I will never forget. We used to have a choir when I was in junior high school. And during that time, by me being tall, we had done an actual concert because I was, we had a little choir and did a concert. And one of my classmates came back the next day. He started laughing. He said, "You know what? My mom asked me, who was that teacher standing on the stage with you guys up there?" It was me. It was me, So that was a challenge for me. I felt different. I felt sometimes kind of out of place, like I didn't fit in, kind of thing. But that's basically my story. Mm-hmm. So what would you say about you, Stan?
Well, mine's is sort of opposite. I was but basically I was picked on simply because I was just chubby.
Okay.
They called it husky back then.
Mm-hmm,
and so, being the size that I was, I didn't have confidence, of course. And of course, kids used to tease on me.
Okay.
And then plus I was a preacher's son. Oh man. Wow, that was even worse. Mm-hmm. Being picked on because of that. And, it was just peer pressure.
Yes.
A lot back then, kids were kids. They just like they are today. They just, they don't have a filter.
Right.
They just say what they want to say about you. They already know who you are, how you look, and they just put a name on you.
Okay. How about Flake? Did you get teased about
my God.
Flake?
What did I? Frosty Flake, Snowy Flake. I got to a point where I just tell people, hey, it's okay. My father owned Kellogg's. How about that?
But that wasn't the truth.
No, I wish it was though.
No.
No.
That was definitely not the truth, right?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, it is what it was, you know what I'm saying? And
trying to make a good
and
challenging situation.
The challenges, even, trying to fit in with the clique, being a part of the sports or whatever, just trying to fit in, so I wouldn't be, called out, whatever I picked on, but that didn't work either.
Yeah, sometimes
it is what it is.
Sometimes kids and teenagers can be a little cruel, and sometimes even adults, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely adults.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back because we love to do definitions, right?
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be given the definition of unique, which is being the only one of its kind, and original, which I like that one. I like that one the best. And original, and unlike anything else. So in other words, one of a kind. Standalone, rare, original, and it's okay to be different. It's really okay to be different. Sometimes we don't feel like that, especially when you're children or you're in junior high. That's a good thing, but it's okay to be different. Yeah. It's okay to be unique. And these are some of the other words that people may use in the place of unique. Can you read a few of them for us?
Oh yeah, unique can also be called rare. Peculiar, extraordinary. I like that one. Odd or strange.
Yeah, because some of the terms can come across as being positive, and some may come across as being kind of negative. Yeah. Most people don't want to be considered odd or strange.
Right.
But those very words, odd can be unmatched. There's nobody like you. In other words, right? Unmatched. Right. Strange could just be, like we were saying before, different.
Yeah.
Not what you expected. Sometimes we think people are strange because they don't do what we call normal things, or they act a normal way.
Right.
So it's just a matter of just thinking of the perspective that unique is a positive thing. Yeah. Right? Unique is a positive thing. Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to our next page here.
Ooh.
We're going to delve a little bit into, what really makes you unique. Every day, I think back, well, not every day, but sometimes I think back to when I was a child. My dad thought I was strange. I know Stan thinks that too. But anyway, because as a little child, not only was I being teased for being tall, but just different. I enjoyed different things, because I remember I might have been maybe 8 or 9 years old and watching a musical. Now, how many 8 or 9-year-olds watch musicals on TV? Mm-hmm. And so my dad came in one day and he was like, "What is that mess you're watching?" He didn't quite understand, but I love music. That was the thing. I love music. So anyway, but we're going to touch on some areas that makes us unique. Did you want to start with number one?
Oh, wow. Number one is probably the number one. For real. Genetics. Yeah. I'm finding out as I've been approached to a lot of people now that they saying that I look like my dad the older I get. And I'm like, oh, wow.
He really does.
Man, and really you talk about that's pressure. Oh, wait a minute. We got something from Sovis. Good evening to y'all. Okay. Did I just hear Renee say she was strange? I do not believe it.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of people agree.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the people that I work with think I'm strange.
Oh, yeah.
Probably people that I encounter in the church think I'm strange. Yeah. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just unique.
It's unique.
It's just me.
It's unique.
Being me.
It's just, you've been set apart.
So what were you saying about the genetics about your dad?
Like I said, because at the beginning when I was young, I used to look like my mom. I had features of my mom, and as I got older, I started looking like my dad. Okay, wait a minute. We got another one. Now, Stanley, we all know
you're strange.
Oh, I know I am. I ain't gonna deny it. I know I'm strange. Everybody know I'm strange. But I say it is what it is. Yeah, like I was saying, the older I get, people, especially when we came home recently to my hometown and everything's like, man, you look just like your dad. And I was like, oh.
I hadn't seen you in a while though.
Yeah,
too.
and they haven't seen me in about 20 years.
Some people have.
And so, yeah, I didn't really want that stigma on me because I felt like I was pressure. I felt pressure.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was he was like one of the main people of our community. So he was involved in a lot of things in our community, and a lot of people around High Point and the Triad area knew my dad very well. He was like a pillar of the community, one of them,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of pressure, when people say, you look like your dad, I'm like, oh, but it is what it is.
But he's feisty like his mom.
Yeah, I am. I'm very feisty like Fannie Elizabeth Flake.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she was a sweetie, but she didn't take no mess. Mm-hmm. That was Fanny's, what they used to call her, Fanny's.
Because I remember you saying, I'm trying to make sure I get this right, guys. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to make sure that your mom said, she said that I brought you into this world. Uh-huh. I can take you out, and I can make another one that looks just like you. Yeah. So that would be enough to be afraid of.
Yeah, that'll make you walk the straight and narrow. Because you really got to think about it. She said, I'll take you out of here. It don't really matter because, me and your father get together and make another look just like you. Don't matter to me. I'm like, ooh, I had to think about it. I'm like, ooh, let me get myself together.
Uh-huh. And the genetics part, if you really think about it, when we get the DNA from both of our parents, we're getting all these different characteristics and different things that are totally different, because you imagining just to your parents and all of their DNA and what makes them up, how they were created is transferred to you. So you can get some things from your mom, some things from your dad. God, it could be something from your great grandmama, eye color from what So there's different things that ties into genetics.
Oh yeah.
Physical characteristics.
Ooh.
So we're talking about the way you look and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we hit on some of those things. Like I said, I'm beginning to let my dad that got, when I'm getting older,
race has a part to play, right?
A lot of the race, most definitely have a lot to do with it.
Different races.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about that in that weight and height, because you can look at, whether you're tall or not so tall. Some people don't like the word short.
Right.
Tall or not so tall. Let me see. We were touching in on too the fact of when we're looking at physical characteristics. Sometimes even in different cultures, and that just made me remember. Sometimes even in different cultures, people can be light skinned to dark skinned.
Yeah.
Whether you're African American, whether you're from India, Hispanic, whatever, Puerto Rican, different cultures, you can be light skinned
right.
to dark skin. So that's another physical characteristic that, comes into play. And so sometimes you can look at a person and maybe identify from where they're originally from, or where they may have grown up from, but not necessarily. You can't even go by that really. Because so many people live in so many parts of the world, so many different cultures are spread throughout the United States and other places. So, but we do know that, with the skin color, anywhere from light, fair to dark skin, it's something that makes us unique, right? We can celebrate our differences.
Right.
Okay. What about personality?
Well, you know where mine came from. Mine came from Fanny's. My dad was a quiet man. He was so quiet, he would scare people. Because he didn't never say nothing. He would scare especially some of my homeboys. They was like, first thing he said is, "We have in there?" Like, yeah, man, I ain't going in there. Because he wouldn't say nothing. But yeah, my mom was very witty. She was wide open. You know, she didn't have no filter either. At times, you know, she would tell people, God called Will, he didn't call me.
Because with
y'all better watch yourself.
Yeah, with personalities, you could be an introvert, which you got people who tend to like to be by themselves, right? Or you could be an extrovert, outgoing, social butterfly, the life of the party.
Yeah.
So personalities reflect a whole lot of things, Right. So that's something to remember. I'm looking at my other little additional notes up here. But yeah, sometimes that can happen. And it also, I was reading an article and I was sharing with Stan about it, that personality is the way your temperament is, because maybe you got a bad temper that's quick, or maybe something, maybe you're slow to anger, that kind of thing. It can be your character, how you present yourself. It can be shaped by experiences, whether good or bad experiences. It can be also, what's the word I'm looking for? Shaped, I could use that again, use that word again, by observations, knowledge that we have, the things we learn. They mold us into the person that we become. So that's a part of our personality. And that's something that starts even when you're very young, when you're a baby.
Yeah.
If you noticed, even with children, how some of them may be very quiet, or they smile a lot, so that starts developing earlier on in life. So do you remember what you were like as a baby or as a child? What was your personality?
As a child? I don't know.
Were you high strung? Were you bouncing off the walls?
I wasn't high strung, but I would get into some stuff.
Why?
I don't know. I think I just probably wanted attention.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
I mean, as a child, there was 5 of us.
That's right. You had 5.
Yeah. So, you had to do what you had to do to get some attention,
I only had 3 in my household. So I'm not counting myself 3. It's just 3 children with 2 adults.
Yeah.
All right. Attitude was one.
Ooh.
What do you think about attitude?
Attitude,
the way of feeling or thinking about people or things. You ever met anybody that had a good attitude or a bad attitude?
I know a lot of people with good attitudes, and some people with bad attitudes.
Okay, don't give us any names, but can you explain what you mean by a good attitude?
Well, I got friends that are very cordial.
Okay.
They always have something positive to say. It's nothing negative all the time. It's they give positive feedback, accolades to you. It's just somebody that you feel good around and like to be around because they got the positive energy. Here we go. Got one for Soul West. It is true that a person.
Is it true?
Is it true? Is a person? Is it true that a person's personality is formed by the time they are 6 years old?
That sounds about right.
That's about right.
That sounds about right. Yeah. You just think back to if you're a parent and you have children.
Yeah.
I remember with our son Aaron. He was a happy baby. He was happy. And he continued to be that way even as he got older. Not a fussy baby. He was pretty good overall when it came to, his personality. Now, I did notice that sometimes that he would, if there was something about a person he didn't like, his facial expressions would change. He would get a lot of attitude, like, don't come near me.
Yeah, he got that
look.
He got that from me. Yeah.
Because I will never forget one time, I don't remember exactly how old he was, but I was in some store and he was in the shopping cart, and this lady came up and just started talking, and he was like, pulling back, like, don't get too close to me. I don't know you. I'm picking up some kind of vibe. Maybe I don't like, So, you just know personality. Some people can be what we call optimists, who goes back to the positive, like Stan was talking about, being a positive person, or pessimist, which would be a negative person, right? The official term for that. And so nobody really I'm gonna be honest with you. Most people, let me take that back. Most people do not like being around a negative person.
Nope.
Because it drains your spirit,
It
right?
sure does.
I mean, Debbie Downer or whatever you want to call her, the one that always complaining, never wants to do anything, can never find the positive in anything. But you get more energy from people who are positive, who are encouraging, who act like not act like, but you get the impression that they enjoy your company and they like being around people doing positive things, so.
Right.
That's something to take into consideration too. I had a bunch of them. So perspective was one. You remember earlier we were talking about maybe going to a movie or a concert with a friend. I mentioned something about that.
Right.
And so with that, would you say, okay, when you've gone to a movie with a friend, do you usually both like the movie? That's what I'm trying to get to, I think, about perspective.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, you might like some parts of the movie, and some you might not like. I mean, there's been times I see a movie and I thought like, oh, wow, that's going to be, because, I'm a science fiction kind of dude.
Yeah,
I
he
love
likes
science
that.
fiction. I love it. And I like action. And so when I see something, I'm like, let me check that out. You know what I'm saying? And then I begin to look at it. I'm like, wait a minute.
You're like,
that's not good at all.
It's not what you thought it was, right?
Yeah. I mean, corny production.
Yeah.
And, the dialogue stinks.
Yes. Yeah, it could be.
I'm like, nah, let's see something else.
Yeah, but the other person that was with you, a friend, could just say, well, you know what? I really like that movie. And you won't, that makes us unique within itself too.
Right.
Because because the things that we like and our perspective about things are different.
Right. Totally different.
So that makes us special, unique, rare, extraordinary.
Right.
Those are other words we can use. Adjectives, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm looking to see what else is on our list here. We got habits.
Oh yeah.
Good habits, bad habits make us unique.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Some examples of good habits, Mr. Flake.
Good habits. Oh man.
Let me just flip a little page here.
Oh
I'm gonna cheat a little bit.
Brush your teeth after every meal.
That's a good habit to have.
And people don't realize, brush your tongue, please. My God, use some Listerine too.
Come on back in.
Oh, sorry.
Get our script now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good habits.
Good habits. Okay. Yeah. Exercise might be one.
Exercise is a good one. Very good.
Drinking
water.
It's a good habit. Yeah. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good habit. Yeah. What about reading?
Yeah. Reading's good. Reading's very good.
Biting your nails.
No, that's a bad thing. Because when people don't realize when you do that, that's trapped bacteria under your fingernails. You don't know what when you're biting. What you're biting. Yeah. So yeah, that's not. And then to see people suck their thumb. I've seen grown-ups do that. That's sort of.
Well, mostly children do that.
I've seen some
grown-ups doing it.
I've seen some. Not as old as I am, but
I say, hope not as old as you are.
Not as old as I am. But when I saw it, it flipped me out, and I was like,
So some people that could be a nervous habit, though.
Could be
that they never stop doing.
But it's not a good look, though. But yeah,
not for an adult. Maybe a baby.
Maybe, yeah,
but not for an adult. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those habits,
Smoking?
Oh, smoking's a very bad thing.
It's not a healthy habit either.
No, and some of the things that I that I chose, I used to do it when I was a teenager, and then I stopped because some of the things that I saw my dad, and then some of the health issues that he was going through because of some of that.
Okay, from smoking?
Yeah, because back then they were smoking like Camels, and I don't know if y'all know anything about Camel cigarettes. They didn't have no filter.
They didn't.
And so, to see that, I'm like, man, let me, this ain't for me.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else can we talk about? Experiences.
Yeah.
Make us unique.
Yeah. So what did you experience that made you unique?
Well, I'm going back to my notes again. So I can stay focused.
Okay.
But what the article was talking about is that we experience love and loss differently.
Oh.
Not everybody experiences the same. And not everybody even has the same ways that they go about, like the grieving process or what they do, you know. I think I can't remember. It's been so many years since I used to, read about different cultures. But when someone dies, not everybody does. They have different ceremonies and different things that they do. So that makes the people unique.
Yeah, because the African tradition is, they say they weep in the coming in of the birthing of the child, and they celebrate on the going out.
Yeah. More like celebrating the person's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely.
Yeah. It's different cultures do different things, different ways. Yeah.
And then there's, like I said, there's other ones that do different things in that they may have a procedure where they prepare the body before burial and different things. So yeah. And that's unique. And I think it's wonderful to be able to learn about other cultures and how they do things differently. And some amazing stuff that you see, right?
Yeah.
Right. So loss, and it doesn't really have to be a cultural thing in how we experience loss. It could just be the way you were taught or raised, or the way another person maybe within your community was raised, because some people believe in the hereafter, that they're, that when you pass away, you go to heaven. And some people don't think you go anywhere. They just think the spirit leaves the body and that's it. So, everybody is different in how they actually, perceive things. Right. So that's something to think about. Let's see. I was trying to think about love, because it's like, everybody experiences
love differently. Yeah, most definitely do that. Yeah. It's a different, I guess it's according to the individual, and the past experiences they may have had, or the experiences they don't want to have because what they might have saw when they were growing up between their parents. And so we call it breaking the curse. That you want to do something other than what you might have seen. Yeah. In a positive way. Right.
Because some people could have come up in an environment where the parents argued all the time, and that's all the children heard, and they didn't feel good about that, nor did they probably feel too secure.
Yeah, they didn't probably feel safe at all. Yeah.
So that definitely makes it a unique experience.
Yeah.
It makes it a unique experience.
Most definitely. Yeah. So we are getting ready to end the first half. Yeah.
Boy, it ain't nothing like that.
Yeah. Let's call you.
That was a cue for you right there.
Yes. Wasn't that smooth?
Yes.
Daddy. I was listening and you asked Stanley about his childhood, and I was like, we all can read about his childhood. I know it's in the Old Testament.
Oh,
Anyway, my name is D-Ray the producer, and I'm an associate producer here at blastmusic247.com. And we are playing one of the Blast artists of the week, which is Mr. Greg Luster with Coming Home.
I see my home in the distance, think that's Abba on the porch. He got a ring and it's glistening, feel like I've been through this before. He got a robe and a smile on his face, yeah. I cannot wait just to feel his embrace. I miss home, I done tried the other way. Brought me right back around like Circle K. I was all about my cheese, straight Monterey, but it still want enough, you the only way. Baby came stillborn, I was broke down. I was lost, couldn't figure how to cope now. Went to you when you showed me how to slow it down. Swallow pride, put my face on the floor now. I'm coming home now, I'm coming home now. Ain't no place I'd rather be. Strip me of all that is filthy. Wash my sins and make me clean.
Been around the world and still can't find another to love me like you do, so I don't want another. To give my heart to them and then they walk away. I need a love I know that's gonna stay. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. For a love I can count on. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. You are the love I can count on.
I see my home in the distance. Man, I've been through this before. I said this is it, said I'ma quit, never going back no more. And now I'm caught up in a matrix. Your love, I misplaced it. My vision's so jaded, but you've been so patient. I gotta find my way back to you. My spirit's feeling off course. I'm not plugged in the source, and I got around my friends and I changed up. Scared to death of the way they would see me if I claimed you. But I'm coming home now, I'm coming home now, yeah. Ain't no place I'd rather be. Strip me of all that is filthy. Wash my sins and make it clean. Oh, yeah.
And still can't find another to love me like you do, so I don't want another. To give my heart to them and then they walk away. I need a love I know that's gonna stay. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. For a love I can count on. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. I'm coming home now. You are the love I can count on.
I like
Wow.
that.
That is a beautiful song and a beautiful video, isn't it? Isn't it? Shout out to Gregory Luster, Jamar Allen, and Bobby Ruffin for coming home.
Yes.
If you are an independent artist, comedian, or even a spoken word poet, and you're ready to get out there and launch your career, feel free to go to blastmusic247.com and fill out a free profile, and let's get your work out
Nice.
there. Blastmusic247.com, changing the industry one artist at a time. And now, back to Stanley and Renee.
I really enjoyed that.
That was
They were very
nice.
unique. Since that our topic.
That was good
Very unique and very gifted.
and extraordinary.
Okay. I love that. That was good.
That was very good.
That was good.
Yeah. Sometimes the church doesn't embrace uniqueness. Can y'all talk about why that is? Why the church does not embrace uniqueness? Why? Can we talk about it?
Yeah. You want me to start?
Oh, of course.
So he wants to have more time to think about it.
Yeah, I can say a lot, but I want to.
So the question was why the church does not support uniqueness?
Yeah, they want to know. Sometimes the church doesn't. They said sometimes the church
doesn't embrace uniqueness. That's what we got.
Can you talk about that?
This is just my opinion and from my perspective. Is that sometimes people are so caught up in traditions of what they think the way things should go within a ministry that when somebody wants to step up and do something different that the church has never done before, people aren't receptive. They want to stick with the same old ways, and we're in a new time. The same things that worked years ago when we were little don't apply today, even within the church, whether it's ministry, whether it's outreach. It's a different day. So we have to make sure that my term is follow the cloud. God in the years past, they would follow the cloud because they felt like the direction of God. And so we got to learn how, as a people, to follow the cloud. Don't get stuck in traditions or what used to work, or this is what we've always done. God wants to do a fresh thing. We need fresh manna.
Right.
We need fresh ideas. And I think a lot of times people don't like change.
Right.
And they're not willing to be open to doing something different.
Right. Yeah. And there is a scripture we could pull up real fast. I hope God's doing a new thing. He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. His word is the same. But the church has fear of change. I believe they have a fear. And then there's a time where you're going to have to pass on the mantle. We got a lot of people that have been there since the first pews been assembled in that church. Yeah. They got their names on the pew, on the stained glass windows. These people are settled to a point where they even got to a point where, here we go. The scriptures, Isaiah 43:19. Isaiah chapter 43. Thank you, Blast.
I was trying to do my little homework. So
Isaiah 43:19.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, people in church have a fear, especially if they're the older generation. We came up through that path where we want to do something different in our youth ministry when we was young. But some of the older people, man, they were just like, nah, that's too worldly. Well, it's not too worldly if you represent and you giving your all to God, right, as a sacrifice, as a praise, and it's not worldly. That's the way of youth expressing themselves. Yes, they might not express themselves the way you do, but that's the way they express themselves because of the time that they were in. And so, can you read that for me, babe? Okay. Isaiah 43:19.
I'm going to start with 18 just to give you a little bit extra information. 18 says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past.
Here we go.
See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in the wasteland. So, we got to be willing to do different. And also along that line too is that we got to be able to accept people that are different. Yeah. People that are unique. Yeah. And sometimes churches are not open to accepting people that don't look like they think they should look. Yeah. Did you remember we talked about the scripture that God looks at the heart. He's not looking at the outward appearance, right? Just when he was trying to pick David as king. Right. David was a little scrawny somebody, but the people thought it was going to be a strong, tall leader, but he was a shepherd boy. Right. So sometimes if people dress differently, like if they got piercings or they wear braids or they're all these different colors in their hair. The church, tattoos, the churches are not willing to accept them and embrace them, and that's a shame because a lot of times we're missing out on positive experiences, knowledgeable people full of wisdom, because we're too busy looking on the outside, what they're wearing, what they look like, how we perceive them. And so it still goes back to that thing about change and things being different. People they don't want change a lot of times, and they're not ready for change. Yeah, because it's so important, like we're talking about, passing on that mantle.
Yeah, and you have to pass it on because the thing about it, we're not going to be here always. And so what do you have to hand over to the next generation? Are you going to stay stuck in your traditions and the way you doing it? This is what we used to do. Well, guess what? There's things called, this is a thing it's called seasons, and it changes with the time. And so we don't give enough credit where credit is due. Yeah. So it'll get to a point where people want to attend your church, They want to attend your church because you don't like change.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people come for change.
Right.
You know, they was already ridiculed. They was already talked about. They was already put on the microscope because they weren't good enough.
Right.
You know, they didn't look a certain way. Well, guess what? Everybody not going to come to church in a suit.
No,
they're not going to come. They're not going to come to church in a dress.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they might come to church in jeans or whatever they have.
Right.
You know, and that's all they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it could be presentable. They ain't got to expose themselves. But what are you going to do when you got somebody that's going to walk in your doors that's got tats and appears?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So important.
I mean, you got to think about stuff like that. But, you know, like I said, the physical church as we know it is changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's changing.
Yes.
And so if you're not willing to change and move when the cloud moves, which is the presence of God, and he does, the presence of God moves, and it does that for a reason because it's time for a change. The seasons are changing. That means the mantle has to be passed on to the next generation. And so, yeah, you got a lot of churches that have no growth. They have no spiritual growth because they're afraid of change.
And afraid to embrace the uniqueness, right?
The uniqueness.
And that ties into to the creativity, because we have a lot of young people that have so much creativity when it comes to music, within the church, or spiritual dancing, or
even mine.
Writers, mimes. I remember we've seen some mimes perform before. That was such an amazing experience. They were amazing.
Yeah.
It was at
Evangel
Church, right, in Greensboro, when we had gone to an event there.
Yeah.
And I mean, ministry comes in all kinds of forms and shapes and experiences. So we have to be open to embrace, even within the church, on how we go about loving like God.
Yeah.
He loves us no matter what we look like, where we're from, whether we're unconditional, like we were talking about before. He doesn't get caught up in the fact that, you know, the person's addicted to drugs, or they're homeless, or they're, you know, a prostitute, or what their lifestyle is, or what they're doing. But he looks at the heart.
Right.
We got to embrace people regardless of what we see, how we feel, because it has nothing to do with feelings. Love is not based on feelings. Love is based on a true foundation, true love, right? So, you know, we shouldn't go with what we think the way things should go. So creativity, I can tell you, there's so many young people out there doing spoken word and rap and gospel rap. I mean, you know, things that we're not saying to disregard, you know, a lot of the ways of worship and things like that.
Right.
But you have to make room for the younger generation, just as you can look now to things that are going on today. Even in politics, it's time to make room and embrace the uniqueness of our young people who are ready to jump in and take over leadership. But those of us who are mature need to be willing to mentor them and step back and let them go and run with it. Because I'm telling you, the world and our country would be such a better place,
a whole lot better,
if we were able to allow our young people to use their gifts to give to others and to help our country and our world and our nation to grow. You know, so important.
Yeah, and it starts at, you know, they said that it starts at home and it spreads abroad. So yeah, it has to start at home, but you also have to give them an opportunity. You know, give them opportunity, and don't always assume you know when they're ready.
Thank you for that question. That's an excellent question. We could sit and talk all night about that. That alone, you know, of just embracing the uniqueness of our young people, and what they have to offer, and we got some that are on fire. They're so knowledgeable, and then
with the technology, my goodness,
especially with the technology.
That's why you see some of these churches now, they look like a performance stage, you know, with the lights in the background and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think is doing that? It ain't grandma and granddaddy.
No, grandma and granddaddy still trying to figure out how to use a cell phone.
Or how to text.
How to make a call or make a text.
Is
Send
that
a
your
text,
phone
right?
or is it my phone? What is that? What's that beeping sound? Oh my God. Susie Bell, I said, is that your phone?
Nobody said that. Susie Bell is at your phone.
But yeah, every generation get wiser and weaker. Is that it? See? I mean, the wiser, the technology. That's what I'm saying. The technology of what
not wiser and weaker.
Oh, weaker and wiser.
No.
What? No, never mind. Well, we got a wise generation. How about that? I know D messed with me right there.
So we want to kind of end tonight with just encouraging people to embrace your uniqueness. You may seem like a Lone Ranger or misfit toy. We used to talk about the misfit toys on the island with the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Every year, talking about the island of misfit toys. But we don't have to be on an island and be a misfit toy. We can just be our unique selves, be the best that we can be, share all our gifts that we have, show how creative and amazing and talented we are, and not apologize for being who we are. I know I was always different, but I learned to accept that.
Right.
Because earlier on I struggled with it. I struggled with it because I didn't know what to do with it. And so as we grow older and as we learn from childhood all the way to adulthood, that we can love ourselves unconditionally. It goes back to that.
Yeah.
In order to be able to embrace our own uniqueness, we have to love ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to love ourselves. And I had shared with people in the past, I used to want to look like, I don't look like Halle Berry. I don't look like Beyonce. I mean, because when you're younger, you're looking to those kinds of examples. Yeah. And some people are looking for role models, but be the best you can be.
Yeah.
Be the best you can be. Nobody can do it better than you. Nobody can sing it better than you. You may not be like, the world's most famous singer, but the gift that you have, use it for God's glory and use it to build up and encourage other people. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we're going to give a real shout out for our audience. You can also see these shows, these episodes. You can see them on Blast Music 247 on YouTube also. So I know a lot of people are like, well, gosh, Stan, it's not on Facebook. Guess what?
Yeah, that was the other part.
You can see it on Facebook, but also you have to go to Blast Music 247 on Facebook and also YouTube to see some of our shows. And I want to give a heads up for next week. We got a special guest coming in. Y'all, it's going to bless your socks off. You got to tune in. We're going to have a wonderful young lady. Her name is Antonetta Flake Wall. That's what I said. Antonetta Flake Wall, a.k.a. Izzy Wall. She's going to be talking about her single Deep Roots, who produced and co-produced with her, me, and also some of her testimony, which is going to bless you. You don't want to miss that, for real. So tune in next week. And again, on Blast Music 247, you can see also on their Facebook and also on YouTube. All right. We're going to say good night.
Love you guys. Have a great week.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.